Hello everybody, it's Sabre Wolf and welcome to another Friday Night Dice. Now again, like I mentioned last week, we are not doing a campaign tonight. Instead, we are doing a podcast. And tonight, I will be joined by none other than our current DM, which is Bailey. And once again, we are actually joined by Sean as well. Hello guys, how you doing?
Doing all right.
I'm
How about
good.
yourself?
I'm doing good. So again, we're talking. Tonight's topic is monsters, and specifically some homebrew monsters. Some actually are not homebrewed. Some of them are actually exist in the Wizards of the Coast world, for I guess the best way to summarize it. So yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I don't know if you guys duel to see who goes first on what we're talking about. So yeah, you guys take it away. I'm just along for the ride to ask questions, really.
You can go ahead, Sean.
Okay. What do we want to talk about first?
Oh, what do you got?
Oh, I've got 5 different flavors of.
That's right. That's right. You're doing the Roll20 thing. So yeah. So again, we're gonna go to the Roll20 demo field. This is the Roll20 again. Is the application we use for our D&D role playing or nightly Friday Night Dice every 7 p.m. Eastern, right on this channel on my Sabre Wolf Gaming, 2M's Gaming. So yeah, take it away on there.
All right, I've got 5 different flavors of faction goons for you. These are modified versions of existing stat blocks.
All right. So you want to go in order, or?
Let's go in order from the top with the Wolf Guard.
All right.
And this one, real fast, because the Wolf Guard, it's a thug.
Hey!
It's the thug stat block. With the addition of a longbow and better armor. I gave a thug plate mail and a longbow. Now, the reason I did this is because this faction, their whole deal is they work really well together. And thugs happen to be one of the few any race humanoids that have pack tactics.
Yeah, I'd see that right now with the wolf. You getting the wolf trait in there with the pack tactics. Pack tactics is really, really broken. I mean, there's some people like the gnolls. I think it's gnolls that have not gnolls. Kobolds. Kobolds have the pack tactics thing, which actually got I believe recently got taken away from them in the new Monsters Compendium that just came out. They took it away from them actually now.
They took it away from the race, the monsters. The monsters,
Right.
The thing that makes it
the playable race. You're right. Yeah.
Real scary on a thug and on these wolf guards is they also have multi attack.
Oof.
Yeah.
So they're coming in groups, making 2, 4, 10 attacks at advantage. And that's just from 5 of them.
So if they roll initiative, they roll early, and if they can surround just one target, they might be going down pretty darn quick. And and you have them listed as, I believe, was like what, a half challenge rating.
That might not be accurate. I think that's what the thug is.
I would definitely raise it to at least maybe a 3/4 or a 1.
The thug has multi attack and pack tactics.
Oh, it does have it already?
Yeah, the only difference is
the
thug has AC 13, I think.
What? Okay.
That's big AC.
I mean, yeah, but that's gonna bring them up to a challenge rating 1, I think.
As well as you added the longbow, which gives them range capability.
Yes.
Yes.
So I would probably alter this up to a challenge rating 1. Still.
Well, I mean, you say makes 2 melee attacks, so therefore they only get 1 longbow attack technically.
Yeah. That's what it says. It might just be that he hasn't edited that specifically.
Maybe.
Either way, for the main grunt force of the Wolf Guard, who are supposed to be zealous, ferocious protectors who will absolutely destroy you. This lurks. That's,
Alrighty.
you know,
And I see you got a couple different kinds of Dragon Knights here. Let's talk about your first Dragon Knight before we get to the second one.
yeah. There's the Dragon Knight come from a completely different ethos of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
They are not about destroying their enemies. They are about solidarity and working as a team, sticking together through thick and thin. They are, well, they're the anime protagonists. And so they have a power that is the power of friendship. I think I've called it undying loyalty.
Wait a minute. You're bringing the My Little Ponies into this? The power of friendship.
So I believe these guys are a guard stat block. Or a soldier stat block, maybe.
Okay.
I've given them plate mail, increased their HP up to 30. And as a reaction, once per short rest, they can heal one of their allies when they are reduced to 0 hit points.
Fuck that ability, by the way.
This is really well play tested, so I happen to know that this does this and and their ability to multi-attack once per short rest does bring them up to around a challenge rating 1, despite not doing much damage.
Mr. Sean, quick question, sure. Is this the kind of like monsters we're going to be seeing in your campaign after this?
Yes.
Goddamn. Here's a preview of the shenanigans that I will be pulling on you guys.
Yes, here's a preview of the horrors that await you.
Thank God I'm playing a swashbuckler. Oh.
Yeah, these things are the antithesis to a swashbuckler. Swashbuckler, you want to fight one-on-one. These guys are coming in groups of 6.
Well, both of them, even the Wolf Guard too.
Yep.
God.
Now let's we can briefly touch on the Dragon Knight Archer, which is only a different stat block insofar as it uses a longbow and has lower armor class.
Because it doesn't use a shield, I'm assuming?
Because it does not use a shield.
But it still has plate mail.
But it still has plate mail, it still has 1 multi-attack, and it still has its heal. Or resurrect, I guess you could call it.
Does the resurrect have a range on it?
I believe the range is 100 feet.
Oh, fuck you.
But
What?
they must be able to see and hear each other.
Alright, so we're doing all of our fights against the
Okay.
Dragon Knights in a fog cloud.
Hold on. Time out. What is the range? And this is I'm doing this off the hand. What is the range of what is it? Healing word?
60 feet.
60 feet.
So this is further than healing word is. I want to make sure I'm actually on the page. Yes, I am on the video.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So okay.
It gets worse. But the next few that we'll be looking at aren't going to be coming in big groups like those two.
Well, okay. I like that a little more.
Let's take a look at the
You won't
Forge
like it,
Paladin.
trust me.
Forge Paladin is a priest stat block that I have taken. But, AC 20, plate mail and a shield.
Mhm.
HP up to 30. Makes sense. Give it multi-attack because it's supposed to be a paladin and not a priest. I kept Divine Eminence the same, as I changed the damage type from Radiant to Fire, because this is a Forge Paladin. And I figured that might help because Radiant's so hard to get resistance to as a player.
A little bit.
And I decreased its spell casting so that it doesn't have third level spells.
Well, actually, Leo's character would have resistance to Radiant, actually, wouldn't it?
Yes, he would.
Um,
But
can I ask, by the way, can I ask a quick question? Why does Leo play female characters?
he's not the only one in this campaign.
Well, no, he's only played female characters.
I
Who else plays female? Who else is playing a female character?
Spess.
Oh, in your game. Okay.
And like, not right now.
Not right now. No, currently.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Leo played.
he played Dread.
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot about that. I keep forgetting Leo played Dread, so my bad.
You know, he's only 2 for 3.
Okay, yeah. I keep thinking he played because I keep getting messed up because on the when we first started, he was playing his Solaris, and then he switched to Dread when we hit the reset button. So yeah, I keep forgetting that.
So the Forge Paladin, I gave them pretty. I gave them thematic spells over useful ones. So they have Magic Weapon, Lesser Restoration, Shield of Faith. Basically, they're granting power that like a Forge Cleric does. +1 to your armor class, +1 to your weapon.
Not horrible.
The thing is, Divine Eminence is a smite. They take a bonus action, and for every attack, they add 3d6 for a first level spell, 4d6 for second level spell slot. That's on every attack.
So,
so that's slightly better than Smite then.
Yeah.
Wait, 4d6?
They're doing
48.
1d8 plus 3 plus 4d6 possible fire damage.
Oh yes, it's a lot of damage.
What's that average out to?
4 dice 6 averages out to 14.
1d8 plus 3 plus say 46, right?
10, 14 point, 15 plus 5, 20.
So it's 21 and a half.
21 and a half?
Yep, according to this.
Yep.
Sounds about right for Paladin.
Yeah.
Shout out to Any Dice, by the way. It does the math for you.
It does so much math for me.
Oh, yes.
I don't remember the numbers, but I did use it for all of these. Because, the other thing, though, about a Forge Paladin, its only ranged attack is Guiding Bolt.
Which is a spell.
Yes.
So no cantrips, though. No cantrips?
No cantrips. It's a Paladin.
My Paladin has... Do I?
Your Paladin has Sorcerer cantrips.
Yeah, I forgot. That's that early Sorcerer dip I took because that way I had a Firebolt, so I had some sort of range without having to carry a Javelin around or something like that. So
The Artificer is the only half-caster with cantrips, I believe. I don't think Rangers do either.
Rangers and Paladins can get one through a fighting style.
Yes, through a fighting style.
Base. How about that?
Yeah.
So, these guys are real deadly if you're right next to them.
They're all deadly if you're right next to them. All of them.
Yeah, but I've seen this one get a crit for 40 damage. But I've also seen this one get absolutely trounced by someone casting Grease.
Thanks for the idea. Maybe I will switch back to my Artificer.
Or just, walking away at the same speed they're walking to you and firing at range.
Oh boy. And you got another one. This is the Tunnel Warden?
The Tunnel Warden is perhaps the most broken thing I've made.
Wait, these weren't broken enough?
This one, I should probably update its CR up to 3 and nerf the wording on it.
What?
The Tunnel Warden is bullshit.
The Tunnel Warden is a druid stat block. I've given it a breastplate, so it has AC 16. Changed around some of the stats. Multi attack, a longbow. Nothing special here. It's a fourth level spellcaster. It's got, your basic entangle, ensnaring strike, speak with animals, animal messenger. Nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once per short rest, it can choose itself and up to 3 allies to teleport up to a space that the warden can visualize, not see, that they can imagine, within 150 feet of them. And until the end of the warden's next turn, these creatures are invisible. The addendum I should make to make this balanced, the invisibility on these creatures ends when they cast a spell or make an attack.
Makes sense.
And
Right, so-
CR still goes up to 3.
So in other words, they have to hold their actions until they pop out to the other side.
The teleport is immediate, I believe.
The teleport is a bonus action.
Oh, wait, the teleport's a bonus. Oh, okay, because I thought because this is until. So they teleport and they're invisible.
They teleport and they're invisible.
So this is a very strong version of the. I think it's a rogue. Class ability where you automatically like shout step away and then turn invisible. Was that rogue or is that
That's a warlock
a
ability.
warlock ability? That's a war. Oh yeah, it's a warlock ability.
That is
Yeah.
the Archfey Patron's 6th
Yep.
level ability.
Yeah. So they get this at what 4th level?
Well, no, these are like. I mean, this is a 4th level spellcaster, but it's a half caster. So this is like a 7th level ranger.
And they could just do it on a short. They could just do it on a bonus action. The other one you have to do it on a reaction after you've been hit.
Yes. I've compared it to spells, and it's something like a 7th or 8th level spell.
Oh dear God.
Come on, man.
And yeah, these guys, you're going to see like maybe 5 of them ever,
Assuming we don't like go after them.
assuming you don't go after them.
Oh boy.
But also
for
there's
you,
like,
Saber, we'll go specifically for them.
there's probably
No.
also maybe only 20 of them that exist in the world. So
No, there's only one group I'm going after, and he hasn't even really mentioned him. So
yeah, no,
on this
'cause
grouping,
I have
they're
not
not,
made
they're not
any.
monsters. That's why. But
Well,
or
neither were any of
alternate.
those guys.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, something you guys might be seeing that was part of your other character's backstory is our next monster, the biomechanical horror. This creature has all sorts of alchemical items and artificer and magic items grafted into their flesh.
Wait, it has
Okay.
a proficiency in charisma saving throws +1.
Yeah.
It's really ugly.
No, it's really ugly.
Well, it's a horror. Hello.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Oh, it has a
Whopping-
blade arm, so that's a lot like what was that character? Never mind.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It a whopping 52 hit points and 17 armor. as
The
it-
climbing speed.
with a climbing speed of 40 feet.
What was this originally? Or
Say again, Bailey?
originally?
I think I said where. I think yeah, he's cutting out, but I think I said where was this originally like coming from?
This one is completely new. This doesn't have a base stat block to it.
Okay.
And that's because I wanted this mostly just I built it from existing magic items and other stuff. So an arm blade, that's an existing magic item. It has an arm blade. It uses it twice with a multi-attack. Does 9 damage. Nothing special yet. The special things are, well, secrete poison because it has internal vat of poison filled with carrion crawler mucus
God damn it.
that it can secrete across its body. So for 1 minute, if you touch it, hit it with an attack, or it hits you with a melee attack, DC 13 con save, or you're paralyzed for 1 minute. You can only remake your saving throw if you are no longer touching the horror. That comes into play because down in its bonus actions, it has what is modeled off of a rope of entanglement. It lashes out with a black whipcord. One creature within 10 feet must make a DC 15 dexterity save, or be grabbed. While they're grabbed, they can't run away, but they can still move closer if they want to. And I think the underlying thing here is this also has some rogue features, just reflavored. So it has uncanny dodge.
Yeah, I see that. Adaptive carapace.
Yep. And because this was built off of Sabre's backstory, his character had a thing that let his armor give him advantage on stealth, so this thing has advantage on stealth.
Oh, this was the other character. It's not the one I'm playing now, though.
That's not the character he's playing now.
This was the original character I was going to play.
This was for Miko.
Oh, boy.
So the scrapped character is going to make us hate our lives. God damn.
Well, the scrapped character is not completely scrapped. The scrapped character is still still going to be in his campaign, apparently. So we might still see this.
And just the final nail in the coffin, if you cannot see the horror when it forces you to make a saving throw, you have disadvantage on the save.
So that's like the
And it has advantage in a plus 11 to stealth.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Can it stealth as a bonus action?
No.
Oh, that's good at least.
No, it can't. No, yes, it can. It can hide.
Oh, did I say it can hide as a bonus action?
Yes, you did.
Yes. So
Yes, he can hide. He can hide as a bonus action, and he gets advantage on the roll.
Yes.
Yeah, this is when you just fireball without discretion.
So this thing,
Pretty much.
This thing, it's probably not going to kill you, but it's gonna come up through a sewer grate, lash out with its whipcord, poison you. You're now grappled and paralyzed, and it runs away.
So wait a minute. Is he going to sell us candy too? Like, what is this? Come out of a storm drain? Is this guy? Oh, what's his name from It?
Yeah, this is.
Pennywise?
Yeah, is this Pennywise?
If Pennywise was a cyborg.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this thing is. But the glorious thing is that this thing is also part of Bailey's character's backstory too.
Yeah.
Oh, you're dealing with this, buddy. You're dealing with this, not me. I'm off the hook.
My character's really fucked up.
This thing I decided to
mine was
only
too.
challenge rating 5 because it's not actually that good in a fight. It's only doing 9 damage on a hit, hitting twice.
So all of these are like focused down a single target, like on all these.
Well,
All these
it's a,
submissions, like they're all
It's
like
a battlefield controller, it's not a fighter.
Yes.
Which, the battlefield controller is really freaking good. In my opinion, every party needs one.
The other thing is, it's a solo monster. It's antisocial, So
Okay, then.
it doesn't have anyone to capitalize on that battlefield control.
Gotcha.
It's
Yeah, battlefield controls very important.
very important.
In fact,
Do you have a segue?
not into my stuff now, but in one of I was last Saturday, literally just under a week ago. I was playing with one of my in-person groups. I saved the entire party. We got ambushed by 2 adult black dragons at level 5. We saw some stirring in the water of big creatures, and I'm just like, you know what? Hypnotic pattern one of them. And dear God, that was the only reason why we survived, because 11d8 damage from 2 breath weapons would not have been fun.
Hey.
I'm reminded of the ancient blue dragon that your level 1 characters fight in Rise of Tiamat. Or sorry, it's Horde of the Dragon Queen.
That one you only need to do like 20 damage and then it screws off.
Well, yeah, but it also can make an attack hit you for 35 at level 1.
Or just blow their fire breath all over the party and kill them all.
Yeah. Yeah. Horde of the Dragon Queen, really well written.
Yeah, that might be coming up my group, but probably on a much, much later date, though. So we might try that one out for us, maybe.
I shall say, that book was not written by Wizards of the Coast, and it shows.
Well,
oh really?
It was written by Kobold Press, I think, or another one of those third-party presses.
Global Press, really?
Yeah, it also at level 4, I want to say, has your party fighting 4 assassins.
Aren't those like CR6 or 7 or something?
CR8.
Jesus.
Yeah. People have written fixes for some of the balance concerns in that book.
You want a balance concern? You know the other one shot I had that I wrote up for you guys that I was looking at this. I'm like, this is impossible. Is this for level 2? You had to travel to a level 15 area to go into this frozen dungeon in which there was a trap in there that basically instantly killed you even if you're at level 10. They wanted you to do this dungeon at level 2.
I am reminded.
I'm like, there's no way. And then you got level 3 if you survived it, you got level 3.
I'm reminded of in Tales from the Yawning Portal, there is a trap that gives you super tetanus.
Super tetanus?
That's what it's written as. And it's a, I want to say it's you make 3 saves or die.
Oh wow.
So basically go straight to death saving throws, basically.
Yeah.
Con saves, I'm assuming?
Con saves, 3 con saves, fail them, you die. They're like DC 15.
Wow.
Whew. You're listening to the Friday Night Dice podcast, where we sit around talking about Dungeons and Dragons. We'll be right back after this short break. This podcast is empowered with Anchor by Spotify. Anchor has the tools that allows you to record, edit, upload, and stack your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcasts on listening platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, or web hosting like WordPress. Anchor is everything you need to make your podcast heard all bundled up in one place. And best of all, Anchor by Spotify is free to use. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Speaking of things that work well in teams, slivers, I hear?
Yeah. Now, that's originally from Magic the Gathering. I remember playing those when I was younger. I did have a sliver deck, but then I found out that those are banned. You're not allowed to play sliver decks. So...
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, sliver decks are officially banned by Magic the Gathering in tournaments. It's been like that forever.
So for those of you who don't play Magic the Gathering, what slivers are is they are a type of creature where if one of them has an ability, it grants every other sliver that's on your side of the battlefield that ability.
Yep.
So, for there was an ability called Double Strike, where essentially every time you attacked, you hit twice. If one of your slivers had that, everyone had that. If one of your slivers could fly, every sliver could fly. It was ridiculous.
But the problem
And
was, the problem was is that you had to have at least three. It had to be at least a 3-color deck in order for it to work. Like you could have some artifacts like that mixed into it to generate the other 2 colors that you didn't have. So at minimum, it had to be a 3-color deck. It was technically a 5-color deck, which is nearly impossible to try to get all the mana down unless you had specific land that could do multiple different colors of mana.
right.
And that's in order to get like the queen out and stuff like that. Because all these slivers only cost like 2 or 3 mana to get out each. Specifically, the stronger ones were white. The white was strong. Blue was the flying, so that was kind of strong. And I want to say red or green was like the other one.
I don't remember
What
too
was
many
the other
black
strong
ones.
one?
But red gave double strike,
Um,
gave first strike, gave haste. I think
Black
that was-
Black gave them undead, so you could bring them back immediately. And also, Black I also believe gave them poison. So if they hit any creature on the field, they automatically killed them no matter how much damage they dealt. I believe that was
Because-
Black as well.
Pretty sure that was actually green.
Or was that green? I can't.
no idea.
Green and black kind of like they did something similarly. So
Right. But going back to D&D, I found this homebrew online that I absolutely love. I love the slivers and I love how they interacted in Magic the Gathering, but it was hard to make it work. Here in D&D, with this home brewery, and if you want to look it up for yourself, you just put sliver homebrew, and it's like the first or second thing that'll pop up. And how these guys work, it's very similar. Officially, it is they have a 30-foot aura, and any other slivers, or in this case, shrills, who are within that area also got whatever ability that they gave. Um, in my experience, DMing these things, when you have multiple different abilities in one combat, it's kind of hard to keep track of the 30 feet for each one. So I just say, this combat, everything has this until this guy dies, this guy dies, this guy dies. Right? Once something is pulled off the table, then its abilities get erased from the table.
yep, that's kind of how it works for Magic the Gathering as well. So
Right.
because it is an
So-
ongoing ability, it's not a an activated ability. So once that ongoing ability leaves the field, like you're saying for D&D, this would work the same exact way.
Exactly. So we'll start with the bare basic and how this whoever the author of this home brewery kind of wrote it into his lore for these creatures. We'll start with
That would be Daniel North, and then North, the North,
I think so, yes.
apparently.
So if you go to page 5, we have the Shrill Broodline. And it's not the most basic. There are a couple others that are more basic than this guy, but this guy creates the lore for the slivers. How they get all these abilities is with the engulfing charge. And what that ability does is you need a 20-foot running start, and it'll try to engulf a creature. Then you make a dexterity saving throw. If they failed, then it wraps around the creature and basically becomes a chrysalid until the creature either breaks out, somebody breaks the creature out, or the shrill broodling dies. If the shrill broodling reduces the creature inside to 0, then he gets a random mutation to any other shrill that there is. Personally, how I would do it is like, if it's a soldier, they have like a really high armor class, make it an armor sliver. If it's something that has that has a lot of acid, like that's their thing, like a gelatinous cube, for example, make it an acid slip, etc. But officially, as it is written here, it's a random mutation. And then we'll go into some of the simpler mutations. If you want to go to page 8. So here we have the acid shrill and the armor shrill. The acid shrill, its aura is they get an acid attack. Not that big of a deal. Every shrill has an acid attack, which does make them more powerful because now instead of just running at you, because every other sliver or shrill rather for the most part is melee only. Now they can shoot it. The armor shrill gives them resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Not too. I mean, the resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing is big, but it's not over the top. If that makes sense.
But you can see where this starts adding up, people.
Oh yeah. He also, I believe, at the very end of this document, gives suggestions on how to balance it if you have multiple different auras in one combat. Now, let me see if I can find it. Give me a second.
Yeah, kind of the running theme here is monsters that turn action economy into exponential power.
Oh yeah. But like the acid swirl and the armor swirl are some of the most basic. If you want to go to page 30, the spectral shrill, when we start getting to these like CR3 creatures, it starts to get ridiculous. The spectral shrill gives all other shrills within the 60-foot aura. You have disadvantage to hit them with attack rolls. Period. And this thing isn't like a little shitter either. It has 18 armor class and 91 hit points. So this thing is going to stay around for a while,
And if you include,
especially at CR3.
and if you include this with like something like an armor shrill, which makes them more resilient to non-magical weapons, and of course, in and of itself gives disadvantage to attack rolls. Even with the 91 hit points, the 91 hit points becomes a lot bigger.
Oh yeah,
Also, hitting an armor class 18 at disadvantage,
That's not easy to hit. I
it's
mean,
not
yeah.
easy to hit.
and
This thing is going to stay around for a while.
the crazy thing is, a lot of the ones you've mentioned already have only been challenge rating once. But that
Yes,
challenge rating it's one of those monsters or groups that that challenge rating is deceiving because again, you get two different challenge rating ones, but their powers combine and overlap. So they actually become more of a challenge rating 2.5, 2, and then it grows depending on how many more you have added in. So yeah.
right. Yeah, these creatures, the first few, there's CR1 base. I would say there's a CR1. Once you start throwing other things in there, it increases potentially 10 plus fold. It can get really ridiculous really fast. So that's one of the ones specifically that can make things really bad. One of my favorites. Let me pull up the page. If you want to go to page 15. This is one of my favorites because of how it works. Did I explain this one to you already?
Yes, I know
So
this one.
the dementia shrill, which it very much earns its name. Its aura is, oh, what I hit you or the other shrills around me hit you. You have to make a wisdom saving throw or forget a spell for your 24 hours until you can re-prepare it. Just straight up forgetting one of your prepared spells. If you don't have any spells or don't have any spells left, rather, you just forget a language for like D4 hours or an hour or something like that. It very much earns its name. And then on top of that it has some casting. So it's got increase it by these auras work really well together. And then, so those are a couple of the higher level shrills that can make things ridiculous. Then we have the bosses, essentially. We want to go to page 33. So we got all those other guys. They're the shitters. Every single one of them. These big guys, that's what you need to look out for. So this is one of them, the Shrill Hive Lord. And this is, I think, the weaker of the three different big guys. The Hive Lord, its aura, essentially, is anytime the Shrill is attacked, targeted by a melee weapon attack, ranged weapon attack, magic missile spell, or a spell that requires a ranged attack roll a d12. On a roll of 1 to 3, so 1/4 chance, 25% chance, the Shrill is unaffected. Period.
Even if it's magic missile.
Even if it's magic missile. Yeah. This thing is tough. And then it also has an ability when the Shrill is reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, it drops to 1 hit point instead. So it's got the half orc ability. Because fuck you, that's why.
But here's the thing, that reactive carapace, all the shrills have that.
Yes.
Not just this one, they all have that immunity.
Oh yeah. And then on top of that, he has multi-attack to make 2 talent attacks each turn with the average of 20 damage each. So about 60 damage, or no, 40 damage. We have the Invigorate Hive, which is a recharge 5 or 6, each shrill within 30 feet, and already invigorated gains advantage on attack rolls until the start of the Shrill Hive Lord's next turn. So he gives advantage to everybody for 1 round, just replacing his action.
Now, the Invigorate Hive, that's only for that particular one. That one's not shared, though. Correct.
Well, that one's not shared. The only thing that's shared from this guy, and you can see it under the Hive Lord, Hive Aura, all of friendly shrill within 60 feet gain the Hive Endurance trait, which the Hive Endurance trait was reduced to 1. Then the Hive Lord itself has the reactive carapace. Then for actions, the Hive Lord can do the Invigorate Hive, which gives all shrills within 30 feet the advantage on all their attack rolls. Just replacing 2 of his talent attacks, which, depending on how many slivers there are, is very, very worth it.
Do you want to ask this question, Sean, or you want me to?
Go for it.
Are we going to see these in the current campaign?
No.
Thank God.
I was actually
Was that what you were thinking, Sean?
No, I knew he wasn't going to pull these because he messaged saying that he wasn't going to show off any of the homebrew monsters he was using in our game.
Wait, no, timeout. He is showing off a homebrew monster in our current campaign, and we've seen it multiple times. Don't say that.
I'm not showing it off tonight. What are you talking about? I've been giving you access to that block. Have I?
To the blood the blood construct things that we've been fighting. You showed it to us.
Did I?
Yeah. Yeah, after the first night. You have leaked your secrets.
Anyway. But yeah, I might take some things from these guys, but definitely not the aura stuff. No, that's for these guys. In fact, what I was planning on throwing these guys at you was that way back when I was gonna do the level 20 one shot, or well, it was probably gonna be multiple sections, but one shot.
Back in the good old, what was that? April of 2020.
Yeah, before everything went to shit.
No, that was back in 2019 because we got NT in a group before the pandemic sunk in
No, that,
February.
yeah,
Our
that
group
was
didn't start until November of 2019.
yeah.
Right. So we got
No, it,
we got
it
we
was it was the spring of 2020 because NT was the current DM.
right. Okay. I thought you were talking about the first.
No,
Not the
this was
second
for
first.
this was for a 20th level one shot.
Oh. Was I there for that
Yeah,
one?
It never happened.
it never
Oh.
happened. No, I
Oh, it never
was
happened.
thinking about
Okay.
it, and then stuff went to crap.
Oh,
As well as trying to balance these
that's
things
right.
around level 20. Very volatile.
Yeah, I think I was gonna build like a bard archer, a bard eldritch knight archer that just cast all the spells to put like all the dice on a single bow shot.
Oh, I think you have a similar character, sixth level character in our whatchamacallit,
Yeah,
arena.
Oh.
But yeah.
So what other
So that's
big ones you have?
so that's the Steel Hive Lord. If you want to go to the let's see, page 37.
Oh God, the Overlord.
So the Overlord is the second place when it comes to like the top three. Drill Overlord, pretty nasty. It's got a multiple heads thing going on, kind of like a Hydra. It has four heads. While it has more than one head, it has advantage on saving throws against being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, stunned, and knocked unconscious. Whenever it takes 25 or more damage in a single turn, one of its heads dies. If all of its heads die, then the shrill dies. At the end of its turn, it grows one head for each of the heads that died since last turn. So it doesn't grow additional, but it will replace the ones that have died. And regains 10 hit points for each head regrown this way.
How many heads does it have?
4.
So you'd have to kill at least 3 of the heads in a turn. At least. In 2 back-to-back turns.
Well, if it only one of the heads dies only if it takes 25 or more damage in a single turn. So you at least need, if you have a 4-person party, you need everybody in order to kill this in one turn to do 25 damage each.
Each.
Doesn't matter how many attacks each person has.
It's in a turn. Oh.
Exactly.
So even with Ryan doing like double 25 or double 30s, it doesn't matter. It only gets one head.
Correct. Yes.
Oh man. So haste.
so
So stuff like haste. This kind of gets around actions like haste.
I think our party actually could probably round one kill this.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I
Toll
mean,
Yeah,
if
like
12
has
is in
damage of
range, yeah.
if
rain.
Tolv,
Has the
like
damage.
I think Harley and Adrian are the ones that would be the most concerned there.
If
Adrian definitely could with sneak attack. I would be concerned with Harley.
Harley would be the one to be worried about. I mean, compounding she might be able to with.
Well, because Harley can bust out like a just throw a sixth level fireball at it.
Right, but if it succeeds, then
Yeah, I think it's more that she has to like twin cast a single twin cast upcast a single target spell.
Actually, what she could do is bonus action Hexblade's Curse it, Magic
Yeah,
Missile.
oh, true.
at max casting.
Yeah, because then it's just gonna deal, a D4 plus 4 damage for every missile.
Medieval plus 5, I think.
+5.
Plus
You
5,
got
yeah. Because
because you got the one magic missile and the 4 from say at least right now.
yeah.
So how many 1d4s is that?
Well, throw a fifth level spell slot on that, and it's 74 plus 35.
74 plus 35?
Yep.
Oops. Well, I mean, that is... Let's see, let's go to our demo field again here. That's an average of 52 and a half.
Not bad.
With a minimum of 42, by the way. So it doesn't matter. The minimum of 42, that's over the threshold.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What is it? A first level? No, it's just 4 plus. Yeah. Yeah. Just a second level spell slot is 4 die 4 plus 20. So as long as it's not 4 1s.
Right.
So I would upcast it just one more slot just in case. Just to guarantee it, you
Yeah.
know.
So yes, Adrian is the only one who doesn't really have a. Well, I guess.
You have
Well,
really good sneak attack, dude.
yeah,
And if you don't move, you still got that steady aim thing, which will give you the advantage that you
I
need. So
have I have rolled very low sneak attack dice though.
anything's incumbent on the fact that if you hit or missed or they save her anyways.
Yeah.
Magic Missile is just one of those things. But here's the thing: if you go back to the previous one that Bailey just talked about, which gives you partial immunity to the Magic Missile, not even that might work if both of these are together.
Oh God, combining two shrill bosses together—that's
It could
mean.
happen in a hive.
Oh, yeah.
It could happen. Still mean.
You've seen my DMing. I can definitely be mean. You've seen my kobolds.
I've seen your kobolds. I mean, I've also taken 2 damage
Kobolds and catacombs.
from a trap that did 28. So
We don't talk about that. We only talk about the good parts. um, the other things that the Show Overlord has, since it has multiple heads, it has multiple reactions, not a big deal. It has some spell casting, like Dominate Person, Hold Person, Mass Suggestion. It has
that's a lot of wisdom saves.
Yep. Has a special action called Call the Hive. Once per day, it can telepathically call 10 of those shrill broodlings, which were the things that could engulf you. 10 of those is a lot to chew through. Or it can call 4 shrill soldiers, which are tougher, but they don't have that special ability. 2 of the evolved shrills, which could be anything from the acid shrill to the dementia shrill, given
Oh,
a CR 1 through 4.
wait,
Did you say
did you throw it?
dementia shrill?
Did you throw the
Dementia.
spirit shrill? Was it that gives them disadvantage
Spectral.
to hit them?
Yeah, spectral.
Spectral.
And this benefits from it.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, that's the thing. All the underlings will give them the powers of themselves. So this thing could be winged. It could be like on all those heads with all those damage. It could give poison.
You know, throw one spectral shrill with this shrill overlord, and Adrian suddenly isn't doing much because disadvantage and sneak attack.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I really liked about these shrills. I ran them quite a few different times, although this was in a homebrew setting, so that's different. But what I really liked that the players had to do was they had to figure out which one was giving which ability, and they had like different pictures, so they were able to figure out like after trial and error, oh, this is giving this ability, which abilities were the most detrimental to them, focus them down, and then get rid of everything else. So like they went up against the spectral shrill, and once they saw that, they were like, "Oh yeah, this thing needs to die before everything else." So this is the shrill overlord. And then we got the Shrill Queen. And this one's the big one. If you want to go to page 39. Shrill Queen. Her aura is.
The Queen of Mean. That's where her aura is.
Sorry, no, she doesn't give out an aura. Instead, she has high regeneration. The Shrill gains 10 hit points at the start of its turn as long as there is at least one other Shrill within 60 feet. Cool. If there are no Shrill within range, the Straight doesn't function at the start of the Shrill's next turn. The Shrill only dies if it starts its turn with 0 hit points and does not regenerate. So she will come back from the dead to fuck you up if something is nearby.
So it's a super powerful troll, except instead of fire or acid, you gotta kill all the minions.
Yep. This thing is the last thing to die in the entire hive. Then it's got the hive tactics. Basically, pack tactics, except it's specified to shrills. It has a bonus action, spawn drones as a bonus action. Oh, a recharge of 5 or 6. As a bonus action, the shrill can create 4 of the shrill drones. The drones appear in an unoccupied space within 10 feet of the creator and act as an ally of the creator. Meaning, this thing can create 4 basically free, because I don't think it doesn't have any other bonus actions. Every third turn-ish, things that can help it regenerate and help it not die.
Yeah, these spawn drones are pretty much like the artifact sliver, which are basically just one colorless mana. So that's basically what these are.
Right. They don't have very high AC. I think their CR is 1/4, but it's giving this thing survivability, considering if they live, this lives. Shrill Queen also has a similar form of the Engulfing Charge as one of its actions. Although it's much harder to break out, you need a DC 21 strength check.
Goodbye, wizard. A wizard ain't surviving that.
Nope.
21
Definitely.
strength check on a wizard? Nope.
And if it produces something to 0 hit points, as a reaction, it can create 1d6, or on average 3, of those shrill broodlings. So even more spawning. Because why not? And as one of its legendary actions, it can also spawn more stuff. It has 5 legendary actions, or like legendary action points, rather. You can use 1 for each of the movement or the talon. For 2, it can create. It can spawn a Harbinger. It does 4d12 necrotic damage to itself, and then it spawns a Harbinger from the wound. Harbinger is just like a slightly bigger broodling. Has the same abilities, just more hit points, better HP.
Or Harbinger.
Yep.
Yes, sorry. I've always called it Harbinger.
Depending on which country you're from, I'm just saying.
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna reduce this thing to 0 hit points, and then you're gonna have the wizard cast banishment so that it's not within any kind of range of any shrill.
If she hasn't eaten them yet.
True. That is definitely a thing that you can do. Can you banish a corpse, though?
Well, it's not a corpse if it's not dead.
Fair enough.
I'm not dead.
Bring out your dead.
And I mean, if it was a corpse, just cast one of those other spells, like Demiplane.
Fair enough.
And also hive control. The shrill can choose 1d8 shrill that are within 30 feet. Chosen shrill can move up to half the movement speed to make one talent. So, wow. So, reaction 5 shrill can make a swipe attack.
Not even a reaction. Legendary action.
Legendary action, yeah.
Well, reaction from the shrill that are being commanded?
No, it doesn't even cost their reaction.
Oh,
It's her legendary reaction to get 1d8 on average, 4, we'll say, 4 or 5.
So she create these
Move.
drones, and then on a legendary action after a player's turn, can make all those drones do an additional attack as a legendary action for each of themselves
Yes.
on
If you can,
halfway through the turn order.
yes. Some of these things definitely need a little bit more balancing, in my opinion. Like, I would not consider this a challenge 16. But the idea is there, and I absolutely love it.
Well, that's better than I would rather spend the 3 actions and have multiples do a swipe action than just her doing one single one. I mean, yeah, hers does a lot more. It's 3d10 plus 8 slashing damage.
you also have to consider 2 hit bonuses,
But that's true.
especially in a
higher
group
to hit
like
bonus.
ours. Well, here's a point about making homebrew monsters. Know your group. In our group, average armor class is 20.
Which is
In
freaking insane.
in my Monday group, average armor class is like 14.
At what level?
We're level 3.
Okay.
I mean, granted, my wizard with AC 12 is bringing that down, but
Right.
so yeah, if you're throwing something this high level at a party like ours that has average armor class of 20, um, yeah, 5 attacks with a +4 might not be better than 1 attack with a +10.
But also keep in mind that those extra attacks would have an extra chance of causing acid, or poison, or burning, or something other on top of that, depending on what other things are in the room.
Or forgetting a spell.
Or forgetting a spell. You could, imagine 4 of these things, each attacking your person. They forget 4 spells.
I mean, if you're a sorcerer, that's like all the spells you know.
Yeah. Especially if you're a warlock.
Get hit 4 times. Oh no, I've lost all of my
All
first
my
level spells.
The spells that you prepare, not your spell slots.
Right.
Yeah,
But still,
but
I
a
mean,
warlock only knows 15 spells
exactly.
at level 20.
So you lose like a fifth of your spells.
At level 20, yeah.
At level 20 from 4 attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the 20. There's level 20 balancing for you.
These things work very well in groups. Just in case.
Yeah, and that's is that 1 legendary action or?
It costs 2.
Costs
For which one?
2.
The Hive Control one?
Okay.
The Hive Control one, which does the multiple attacks for multiple little ones, that costs 3.
Yes, then it has
Okay.
5.
That
Out of the 5 that she has. So she can still summon a Harbinger on her turn as well, sacrificing her own HP like a blood hunter.
Another thing that I really like about this document here, if you wanted to go to page 56,
The end.
pretty much the end. It gives all of the different auras that each of the shrills give, which I really like. So you got the acid shrill, gives all of their friendly shrills within 60 feet gain the acid spit attack. We'll go to constricting shrill. All of their friendly shrills within 60 feet gain the constrict action attack. Okay, I'm picking ones that don't give any context. Great. But it gives it. You're able to figure out like, oh, which ones do I want to throw into this combat pretty quickly, assuming that you're using these shrills, and just find what ability you like, and then go to that page or around that area and find it.
One thing I do want to question though is that it says, like, for instance, Dark Heart Shrill, learn Hive Offering. There's no Hive Offering listed on this thing.
Yeah, a lot of them, like don't really give any context, but other ones, like say that muscle shrill, all of the
Yeah.
friendly shrill 60 feet gain +1 to their attack and damage, and +1 to AC. Like some of them give that actual context, other ones don't, which is slightly annoying. But I think it's
And
nice.
it's stackable 5 times.
Yes, so you can have 5 muscle shrills and just say "fuck you" to your party.
Yeah, that's
Well,
that's the red magic shrill that I was mentioning. That's the one.
yeah.
That's why you use the red mana.
Well, and that's very important when your party has an armor class average of 20, because otherwise all those little spawnlings aren't hitting anything.
That is true.
But with a +5, eh, I wouldn't want to fight these things.
And they're harder to hit. So you got +5 armor. You're hitting them 25% less.
Well, I have
Assuming you
velvet
don't.
accuracy.
Well, if you're rolling 1 die.
If you're rolling 1 die, which, oh god, throw that on with the spectral shrill, and now it's disadvantage.
But here's
Yeah.
here's the interesting thing. Like the reflex shrill. Say you want to throw fireball just to get rid of a bunch of them. Well, if the reflex shrill out there, they have advantage on that saving throw.
Yep. And
Imagine trying to hit a spectral shrill. It has armor class 18, but it has 5 muscle shrills with it. So now it has armor class 23, and you have disadvantage to hit it.
the spectral had 18.
18
Or no,
plus
18.
5.
Yeah.
But plus
I
5
thought
on
you
top
said
of that.
15. I thought you said 15 at first, but even if you
No,
said 15, the calculation is correct.
18 plus 15 plus 5 is 23.
Um,
That's nearly the armor class of the Tarask.
Another thing, that reflex drill that you pointed out, that also gives, in addition to the advantage on dexterity saving throws, it gives them additional action. It basically gives every shrill within 60 feet haste, besides the AC bonus.
Sean's like, nope, nope.
Let's see what CR that one is. I want to do that.
What page is that? What page? Oh, we need to look at that one.
So you're telling me
Yes.
that the Shrill Queen now has haste?
Yes. That is page 28. This is a CR3.
There's no way.
Yeah, once
No
again,
way.
a lot of these, in my opinion, need balancing. Maybe by itself, it's a CR3.
It can give.
Well-
It automatically has 2 attacks, which do, by the way, which do 2d8 plus 2 damage.
That actually sounds about right.
And it can also teleport magic. By the way, this particular one can teleport magically, along with any equipment it's wearing, up to 40 feet to an unoccupied space before or after teleporting. The shrill can make 1 talon attack, so it can make the attack when it teleports, and it can do this 4 to 6 times.
Actually, that sounds about right for a CR3
by itself.
by itself.
Tex makes 2 attacks.
But
because it can teleport attack and then have an additional attack after that.
Right. The thing is, I think this is the theme of the night. Normally, action economy scales exponentially, or maybe it scales quadratically. With these things, it scales exponentially. Same thing with the monsters I've shown. When every creature on the field has a resurrect that it can throw to its ally, suddenly the action economy is stacked way against the players.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when everything has pack tactics, action, and everything has multi-attack, that action economy scales a lot faster. So, be warned of action economy. It scales challenge faster than you think it does.
Mm-hmm. Which is why a lot of big creatures have those legendary actions, is to kind of take back some of the action economy. But for those of you at home making your own monsters, if you're new to homebrewing monsters, what I would highly suggest is doing what Sean did: take stat blocks and modify them.
Yep.
Once you start learning the balance of a, well, I wouldn't say balance of CR, because CR is absolute garbage when it comes to balance.
Yeah. Well, there's rules to it. They just don't always follow the rules.
Yeah.
Rules are
Well,
made
they
to be
don't follow the
broken.
rules. Once you start figuring out the balance of your group, how about that? How to balance your fights, how to balance out the fights against your group specifically, then you can start messing with like actually making fully homebrew monsters.
That's the thing. Like, you
I would
have to know your group. Like, because in our group, we're optimizers for the most part, especially Leo. Where so even though you're fighting maybe characters at level 8, they're actually more like level 10 or level 11 characters that you're fighting against as a DM. Versus like my group, like I'm going to be starting a new live group. Most of them are brand new. Like they're all pretty much brand new to D&D. Like one of them I think was going to be doing a they're doing a ranger that has very high charisma and low constitution. Or a druid. No, it was a druid. It was a druid with high charisma, low constitution.
why?
That's just what they want to play. They want a high charisma that will charm the pants off you, or intimidate the pants off you. One or the other. That's what they want to play as. They're not
I
optimizer. They're
actually,
just playing as the character they want to play with. So,
I
and then combat situation, when we have these monsters, you have to take into account that these people want to play for the story, the build of the character, not the combat for that. That's why.
I would suggest, in that vein, tracking how doing combats that you're almost definitely sure that your party will survive and beat, and tracking how much damage each person is doing each round and whether they're expending resources to do that. That way, you can spend a day taking your encounter designs, calculating the average damage that they're doing to the party, the average damage the party is doing to them, and which side is winning on average. Do that until you can look at something and guess correctly how the encounter is going to go. Because once you've got there, you can start pushing the limits real hard. Like, say, I don't know, throwing an avatar of Groomsh that can crit on an 18, 19, or a 20 and has 3 attacks.
Yeah,
And if it
I,
crits, it does additional damage on
I,
top of the crit damage.
I regretted that fight. I should have let Leo have an open turn that fight because I forgot that he was going to be in my position where he was going to get 90 damage done to his face before he could do anything. So I should have had him do an open turn as a surprise round for just him before everything else happened. So I learned that's you learn as you grow. So
Uh,
And go ahead.
so, Saber, do you have any questions for us about making monsters? Since I, as I don't know how many homebrew monsters you've made.
I haven't made any. All my monsters I've played in my 2 one shots came from the compendium or from the book that it came with. But I do agree that take a stat block from 1 or 2 monsters and make a baby out of it, for like a better term. That's pretty much what like what Sean did for them is like he took like a thug
Took
and he
the
took a
or
thug and they kind of reworked it into a different representing party and took that representation of that particular clan or group or whatever and built that into that particular one, creating a brand new resource of a monster or a NPC or whatever. So but yeah, that's a very great idea, and That, or just pull inspiration from other places like Bailey did with where the slivers are shrill, branded so it doesn't cooperate on copyright rights there. Shrills. But technically, yeah, they're slivers. We'll just throw it out there. They are, in fact, slivers from Magic the Gathering. So,
It's still Wizards of the Coast.
it's all the same brand technically.
Yeah.
But where it's coming from is where it matters.
If you do start homebrewing monsters as well, you don't. Once you start actually homebrewing and making your own monsters, you don't always have to make your own monsters. Like if you look at the campaign that I'm running, there's the Undead Werebear, literally just reskinned Werebear with a couple of stat changes. The Undead Umberhulk, just a couple of stat changes. Like I think I increased its HP, decreased its AC, maybe a couple of. I think I decreased its charisma, maybe increased its strength, etc. But for the most part, it's just an Umberhulk. You don't always have to go the whole extra mile, make something completely different. Even
Yeah,
just a slight little change to something makes it very unique.
it makes it very unique, and it's also like 10 times faster.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Because I always, whenever I'm building a stat block from the ground up, I'm always like, okay, I have no idea what I want any of these ability scores to be. It's like, okay, well, it's a wizard, so intelligence is a 20, I guess. But what is its charisma? I don't know.
Roll 46.
Yeah. Uh, what's the proficiency bonus? What challenge rating am I shooting for? I don't know. I'm just gonna workshop the numbers until they feel right. And it's so much easier to do that when I know that these numbers over here that I've already got are a CR12.
And if you go into a combat with a homebrew monster and it turns out that it's way tougher than what you expected, modify the stats on the fly. Decrease its health by 20, decrease its health by a third,
As,
even half if it's that much.
as Matt Koval says, game design doesn't stop when initiative starts.
No, you have to constantly evolve, whether it's the combat you're in, or the story you're telling. Especially as the GM, you have to constantly evolve what your
That
players are
that
doing.
that tunnel warden, those changes that I suggested to its ability, I made on the fly as we were playtesting it because I realized in the moment, oh no, I'm going to TPK these people in one round when this paladin comes in invisible and gets an advantage smite.
Oops.
Yeah,
Ah,
there's a difference between what you write and what you intend as well. But if you want to make a creature, or maybe even like a one time, not like a one time monster, but something that you really want to stand out, like the nemesises of each of the players that I homebrewed. If you guys remember those guys,
Kyrian, Voldholm, I forget the rest.
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Um, Come up with like one or two really interesting abilities and kind of build the character around that. I once built a character that I based off of Jace Berlin, also from Magic the Gathering, who's a very powerful magic user. He, in addition to
Yeah,
kind
the
of
Blue
like,
Mage champion, basically.
right, in addition to like illusions and whatnot, he was very adept with magic cancellation, basically counter spells and whatnot. Um, but I really wanted to stand out a little bit more and increase the and in one fell swoop increase the what's what call it actually calling out my side. I gave him ability what I called counterspell mastery, and I didn't build it in Roll20. I should have. Now I'm thinking about it, the character in Roll20. But the counterspell mastery ability that I had for him, anytime you use counterspell, he not only countered the spell, he took control of it. So the opening fireball that the party used, yeah, it blew up on them. So just pull a couple, or think of a ability, like a standout ability that you want to kind of build the character, or not the character, the creature around that.
Then we can
Because
do it.
But
Sean has his resurrection ability for the purple knights.
Dragon Knights.
Yeah,
Dragon.
Purple Dragon Knights.
They are not purple Dragon Knights, but the dragon on their emblem does happen to be purple.
Yes.
But they are not purple Dragon Knights for copyright reasons.
All right, guys. Are we calling it there?
I don't have anything else to add.
There's one thing I would add.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to admit to your players that you made a mistake. I once threw a monster. Every time it took damage from an attack, it healed 2d8.
Whoa. Oh.
Yeah, which was fine, except that the party had a monk. The monk was making 4 attacks, and none of those were dealing more than it was healing from those attacks.
Ooh. Yeah, okay.
So that was a mistake. It was a fine design, but it was wrong for that party.
Maybe later on.
Maybe no.
Wasn't even then?
No. These guys were like level 5, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the only reason they won that fight is because they had an assassin rogue, and I let him crit every round. And I basically just admitted, yeah, this is a mistake. The monk died too in that combat. I'm like, you know what? No, you get a freebie. You get to come back to life. The gods feel bad.
The GM gods.
To be honest, after the monk died, the rest of the party was more successful in that fight.
You're not wrong, because the monk was healing it every round by attacking it. But that doesn't make it better.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, that's a good idea for a monster. I think I just thought of one.
The only reason I didn't feel too bad is because the guy playing the monk was kind of not a great person.
I'm gonna write this one down. I just thought of a good idea for a monster.
Well, what is it? You got to tell us now.
I'm gonna save it for another podcast. Don't even. Or I might save it for my campaign. Who knows?
Ooh.
In like the year or two that it's going to take to finish mine and Sean's.
Well, actually, my campaign might be coming sooner than I think because I might be with my live group. So I gotta build that shit out soon. Now, that timeline went from about 2.5 years to about 6 months. Really quick.
6 months is still pretty far out.
That's if 6 months. Like, I don't know. It could be like 3 months from now for all I know. I'm hoping for 6. But no, I'd be nice to play some live. The last time I ever played live D&D, Jeremy Crawford, 2012 at PAX. That was the last time I ever played live in-person D&D. Jeremy Crawford was my DM for like an hour and a half. So,
last time I played in person was with a group of 20.
Holy smokes. Were you broken up into smaller groups, or was it actually 20 people?
Well, not everyone showed up.
Okay.
So it was really more like a group of 12.
Still,
that's quite big. I mean, that's
so
you take a turn every like 35 minutes or so.
Oh, yeah, no, it
we
was
do that anyway,
one
dude.
combat that lasted, I think, 3 months. Yeah, I was the dungeon master for that.
You were the DM?
Yeah.
How do you keep the initiative? Well, initiative is in order. You just keep next. Okay, next.
Okay.
Next.
I've got a sand timer. I put it down and said, return.
Oh, that's actually not a bad idea in that situation.
Yeah, not great normally, but when you've got 12 people, that's the only way it's going to happen.
If you have one or two people specifically that are that are taking too long, and they're not like new players. Like new players get a pass, in my opinion. But like the stereotypical wizard that looks through their entire spell book and then casts Firebolt
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
every single turn.
yeah.
I actually had somebody do that throughout an entire combat, and I wanted to strangle him.
I felt it was okay for my players in that combat to take a while because that combat was against the most brutal homebrew monster I've ever made.
Well, against 12 players, I would expect so.
Um, every attack, well, first of all, it could cast Shatter at 9th level at will
Yeah.
using its
will.
legendary actions.
Hmm.
Um, it also, once it got to its second phase, it rolled a d4 and multiplied all of the damage for the round by that number.
That it dealt, I'm assuming.
Yes. So it had, multi attack, 2 attacks, 4 die 10 plus 10.
Just casually multiplying that by 4.
Yeah, yeah. I think um, one of the players at the time was an ancient brass dragon and got reduced to 0 hit points in one round.
What? Like true polymorph or something?
Yeah, and because it was also casting at the same time Storm of Vengeance.
Wait, not only did you play a 12-person campaign, you played a high enough level to 9th level spell slots? Are you a goddamn madman?
Yes, I am.
Season 3, everybody.
And I created the CR47 monster that was required to take him down.
47?
I think. I don't know. It was doing thousands of damage around.
How? Quick question. How do you add extra hours onto the clock every day?
Uh,
This is a 25-hour day, everybody.
Oh, the best part is I was in high school at the time.
Jesus.
The
Time
the
does
answer
not
to your
exist when you're in high
question,
school.
the answer to your question, Bailey, uh, I made a deal with Asmodeus.
That's just wrong.
That's just it.
Yeah,
We just
I will never TM for more than 5 players ever again because of that.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, this whole podcast, we're gonna replace these or any game days that we don't have. We're gonna replace it with these podcasts because this is the stuff you don't hear after our sessions are over. When I cut the reel on our sessions, this is the stuff you guys miss, especially with especially with the three of us, because Leo cuts out usually before we're even in the stream. We're missing Paul tonight because he's not the reason why we're not doing it, but Paul wasn't going to be able to make the campaign, and we're kind of in the middle of a combat situation, pretty much ongoing combat. I'm going to say Bailey, right?
Not quite.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in a
There's
dungeon.
stuff happening.
We're surrounded by 2 or 3 rooms we haven't even looked into yet. Oh wait, no, we looked in one. Never mind. We looked in the one room that the guy ran out of. But we're gonna try to do the after show shenanigans as a podcast to fill the weeks that we don't play. So this
Or with one shots if we don't have the time.
or the one shots if we don't have the time to build or we don't have the content to build. But we still have. I got plenty of ideas we could do. So, but yeah. Any closing comments before we get off about creating monsters or making our players cry in future campaigns that we have not gone into yet?
Stick to one gimmick.
Perfection, I would say.
Yeah, stick to one gimmick per thing. Because when you have a monster with 5 gimmicks, no one's having fun.
Oh, that's what you're talking. Okay.
Yeah. And that's right. You guys had the perfect demonstration of that analogy of like you having individual factions. Bailey had a humongous list of things, but it was still one faction. Their gimmick was they copy the ability from one of their fellow friends. So again, same exact thing. So good on that. Well, once again, I am Sabre Wolf. Thank you for joining us and listening to us of these podcasts. I am going to make the podcast available on Spotify, which we uploaded courtesy of Anchor, who is actually sponsoring our show series. Once again, I'm Sabre Wolf. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Bailey, for joining in this little monster mash tonight. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.